to 96 for 6 and putting to an end any thoughts of a shock result. Zimbabwe were eventually bowled out for 171, Australia winning by 91 runs, their 24th consecutive World Cup win.
Much has changed since Australia's World Cup win of 4 years ago. Great players have retired and the selectors have appeared uncertain as to just how to replace them. But it is to be remembered, Australia are still the #1 ranked ODI side in the world. After this relatively light workout, this tournament gets serious for them next time out when they play New Zealand. Andy Richardson, AlJazeera, Ahmedabad.
So Australia are off to a winning start. Their old rivals England are next in action at the World Cup, taking on the Netherlands in what's the second match in Pool B after India's win over Bangladesh on Saturday. Kevin Peterson's ready to continue in his new role as an opening batsman for England after scoring 66 in their warm-up victory against Pakistan in Bangladesh on Friday. A much-needed return to form for England, who were hammered 6-1 in their recent one-day series in Australia. The Netherlands, meanwhile, are one of the tournament outsiders, one of the 4 teams at the World Cup who've never played Test cricket, but they do have form against England, beating them at Lord's in the opening game of the 2009 2020 World Cup. And their captain, Peter Bobbin, thinks they can pull off another upset.
We're going to go out there and give it our best game, and I think there's no doubt that we've got some really very talented cricketers, who I think will make an impact at this World Cup. And talented cricketers who I'm not sure have made such an impact or had the opportunity to make that impact yet.
A couple of football scores to round up. There was one match in Spain's La Liga where Real Sociedad beat Real Mallorca in a mid-table clash. Real Tamuda scored the only goal of the game, a result that takes Sociedad up to 8th place in the Spanish table. And in England, West Ham are heading through to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup after a comfortable 5-1 win against Championship side Burnley in their replay. 2 goals from Carlton Cole there at Upton Park. West Ham will now travel to Stoke City in the last 8. There's new coach at the Italian Serie A team Roma after the shock resignation of Claudio Ranieri. He's been replaced by the youth team coach Vincenzo Montella. Ranieri had been heavily criticised after his team lost a 3-0 lead at Genoa on Sunday, going down 4-3. But the resignation still came as a surprise. Montella, the former Italy striker who only retired from playing last summer, has been given the Roma manager's job until the end of the season. There's been a surprise on the first day of the Qatar Open tennis in Doha, with 7th seed Agnieszka Radwanska knocked out in the first round. Radwanska, at the top of the screen here, went down 7-6, 6-3 to her unseeded opponent Lucy Safarova of the Czech Republic. Finally, the 2 Greek athletes accused of faking a motorcycle accident to avoid a drugs test before the 2004 Olympics failed to show up in court today. The trial in Athens will go ahead without either Kostas Kanteris or Katerina Tanu, who have both now retired from the sport. Kanteris, the former Olympic men's 200 metres gold medalist, said he was out of the country for family reasons, while Tanu gave no reason for her absence. If convicted, the 2 sprinters could face a suspended 5-year jail sentence. And that's all the sport. Back to you.
Yes, thanks, Stuart. And before we leave you, let's just recap on the stories that we're covering here on Al Jazeera. The ongoing crisis in Libya. It's Tuesday. We're expecting the Security Council to meet in New York later on Tuesday to discuss their next move behind closed doors. The Arab League will also be meeting in Egypt's capital of Cairo. The other top story is in New Zealand. A major earthquake, 6.3, hit at 10-1 in the afternoon local times. At least 7 people dead. We'll be following those stories throughout the day here on Al Jazeera. Do stay with us.
Hello once again, welcome to another look at the international forecast. We've got our wintry weather now pushing back up across that northeastern quarter of the United States. You can see how this cloud is just continuing to just drift its way into New England. I think as we go on through Tuesday, that will move through quite quickly. But look at these temperatures struggling to reach freezing in Chicago. Also in New York, big drop in temperatures there for Washington, D.C., 3 Celsius. Crisp sunshine, I think we'll call that then. Bear in mind, that's something like a 15-degree drop on the sort of value we were looking at for Monday afternoon. Still some warmth around down to the south. We're getting up into 20 Celsius there for Dallas and 19 for Atlanta, so not looking too bad. Up towards the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, more wintry weather to come. Yeah, you will see more significant snowfall coming in here. Come down into the Caribbean. A lot of dry weather, plenty of sunshine, some showers there into Costa Rica, into Nicaragua. Heavy showers also a possibility to southern parts of the Windward Islands, but I think for much of the West Indies, it's looking lovely, some very pleasant sunshine to come. Now we're looking at crisp sunshine across central parts of Europe. -5. Berlin, -2 Celsius there for Vienna. The wintry weather will continue down towards the southeastern corner, around Belarus, down into Bulgaria and Romania. We have got wet and windy weather for the west.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
As geeks take on dictators, bloggers turn dissidents, and social networks root for social justice, governments are going cyber, spying on their citizens, erecting firewalls like iron curtains, and closing down websites. We ask, is cyber-generated change virtual or real? Empire at this time on Al Jazeera.
Welcome to the News Hour. I'm Sahil Rahman from Al Jazeera's news centres here in Doha. We're continuing our coverage of the uprising in Libya. I'm going nowhere. Muammar Gaddafi makes an appearance on television to tell the world he hasn't fled the country. But the protests are continuing. Hundreds are now feared dead across the country. But as the casualties mount, will the international community intervene? The UN Secretary General says he's outraged.
Libyan authorities have been firing at demonstrators from the warplanes and helicopters. This is unacceptable.
Also on the programme, at least 65 killed in a deadly earthquake in New Zealand. Will be there live with the latest. Destroyed by floods, now deluged by snow, the new challenge facing Pakistan's Swat Valley. Welcome to the News Hour. The future of Libya appears to be on a knife edge. The military is taking on the people in the streets of the capital, Tripoli, and high-level diplomats are deserting the Gaddafi regime. But now the man himself has appeared on national television to dispel rumours that he's getting out. And that's going to make things more difficult for the mounting calls for international action, as Stephanie Decker reports.
The announcement on state television that Muammar Gaddafi has spoken and that he denies, quote, all malicious rumours against his government.
I was talking with the young people in the green